YouTube, new program review today, and this one is for Enco Roxas. So this one is actually something that I would say is a bad program. And Enco, if you're watching this, don't take it personally, because I'm going to correct it and I'm going to explain to you why it's bad. And for people who are going to watch, most likely you're going to be able to tell as well. It's in the description. This is not particularly advanced programming. Anyone who knows a little bit about how to schedule a program, how to actually pick your exercise selection so that it matches for recovery and progression, will see that there is a big issue with this training regimen. So it's a body part split in a sense. It's not a bro split, so that's already something. And it's spread on 4 different days. The first day is arms, the second day is chest, the third day is legs, and the fourth day is shoulder and back. So already with those days, I see an issue because an arm day is sort of, it's something you earn. And usually it's the last addition to a program. I want to see certain things before I see an arm day. For example, I want to see at least 2 lower body days. Unless you really have gifted lower body genetics and are massive, most people do not deserve an arm day before they train their legs at least twice a week. And then I also want to see a hefty amount of upper back work before you start isolating those arms, because the muscle of the arms are small enough that you're going to find that when you start isolating them, if you do it properly with intensity, you're not going to have too much room for slapping additional volume on it. You're going to be limited in that sense, which is a good thing, because you can then follow the multiple steps that I've detailed before, I think, about how to get your arms to be bigger. And when you start, you can just do a few movements here and there on any random day, and then you can start ramping up the volume within the days, leading up to a phase where you need an arm day. But that's quite advanced, and most people are nowhere close to that. So here, that's an issue. As far as the appellations of the other days, there's a chest day, which, as I explained in the gentleman split video, does not exist. You cannot just train your chest. There's a leg day, which don't do leg days, do lower body days. Especially since here it only happens once a week, so it's literally the leg day meme where you only train lower body once a week, which is no good. But you'll see that he doesn't even do that. He does something worse. And then shoulder and back, rear delt and back. Why not? Shoulders, some people will tell you that you get shoulder activation when you do pulls. It's not incorrect, but it's not something that you will use for an application of synergistic programming, because by that logic, the arms and the shoulders get involved in anything you do with the back. And I don't think that it's going to result in a good match of exercises to do presses and pulls on the same day. Or at least, I've never seen someone do it properly. So let's get into it. Enco didn't really give me any guidelines. He just put his program there and he told me he's interested in calisthenics, and that's it. If you give me no direction to go in, I'm just going to do whatever I want. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to actually take certain concepts of this program and explain what they're wrong. So arms. He starts the arm day by deadlifting, which, why? And don't do that. When you do an arm day, you slap compound movements within the arm day. That's a proper arm day. If you just do bicep and tricep movements, that's not an arm day. It's a bro split. But the compound movements you're going to be doing during that day are upper body movements, okay? They can be upper back if you want to. They can be upper body, like presses or horizontal or vertical, but it cannot be a lower body lift. It just doesn't make any sense unless you're running something like squat every day, but squatting every day respects a certain amount of reps. Here, he tells me that he does 15 reps of deadlifts. So I don't know what that entails. Does he warm up to 15 reps of deadlifts? This makes no sense, because you're warming up the posterior chain and then you don't use it at all, because all of the other exercises don't use the posterior chain. But let's see what he does afterwards. So he does dumbbell curls, 8 to 15 reps for 3 sets. Okay, for 3 sets, 8 to 15 is a really big range. Usually if you can get 15 reps, there's a very small chance of you not being able to at least get 12 or 13. And then for the last set of getting 10, so why go as low as 8? It doesn't really matter. And he does 3 sets of that, as I said. Then he does hammer curls. So I guess no supersets. So again, a huge waste of time. You don't need to rest your body after you do curls. You can superset it, and you should superset it. This is the reason why so many people have small arms. Is because they do something like this, and then they say, oh, I have no time. Because they only have so many hours to allocate to training, and because they always do that type of set, or they do their thing and then they rest, it takes all of their times. If you look at these people's programs, they train 2 hours, but in reality, they train 40 minutes, and they spend an hour and 20 minutes resting. You don't need to rest that much. He does hammer curls after that, 8 to 15 reps. Stacking bicep movements on the same day is not bad, because you might need that to accumulate enough fatigue to get growth. But it's for people who are quite advanced. It's much better to do 3 sets of something you're going to take to failure with a relevant rep range than doing 2 exercises with a total of 6 sets that are just in random rep ranges that don't challenge you. Then he does barbell curls, so another barbell exercise. So this is, even someone like me wouldn't do that. Meaning that someone like me who I consider my biceps to be advanced, even I don't need 3 bicep exercises on the same day. I do 2 at most. So waste of time. Plus, why would you end with the barbell curls? This is the type of curl that you can overload the most. Why do it at the end? Just doing barbell curls would be better than doing all of that. And then he finishes with deadlift again for 15 reps. So he wastes, I hope he warms up, but if he doesn't, he wastes time doing deadlift for 15 reps, and then he gives the time for his posterior chain to cool down, then he does deadlift again. That makes no sense. It looks like if I told myself, okay, what is the worst program I can come up with, I would try and do something like this. Because this is just unexplainable. You won't get 0 benefits from that, 0. Because that goes without saying, but the deadlift is one of those lifts that you want to keep in lower rep ranges for the most part. For certain variations, like the Romanian deadlift, you can and you should do higher reps because of the modification of the strength curve of the lift. But for a straight up deadlift, I would advise people to not go above 5 reps. Challenge yourself in the lower rep ranges, utilize that lift that allows you to accumulate high quality tonnage, and then move on. That's the beauty of the deadlift in reality, is that it barely takes any time. And because you don't have to do it high frequency to progress, you can really gain a lot of time on your program, just like with superset. And that's what we want. For novices, you don't really need that. For novices, it's a mental health aspect, because novices will burn out mentally faster than they burn out physically in the gym. So you want to keep them in there as low as possible so as to not disgust them. But for people who are more advanced, time is going to be a very precious currency, and you don't have much of it. So any minute you can gain is a good minute. But this is an example of a waste of time. So that's an arm day that's a terrible arm day, because it has only bicep exercises. There's no tricep isolation, there's no forearm isolation, there's no shoulder work. So this, just bin it, garbage, don't do that. After that, chest. He didn't tell me the frequency, but I would advise people, if you have an arm day that is then going to be followed by an upper body day, you need at least 48 hours to recover from it. If you don't need that time, it's either that you manipulated the volume in a way that allows you to either focus on the arms or the chest because you're going to send back one of the two, or it's because you didn't do enough work on the arm day and your arm day is really just an excuse to get a pump. Getting a pump will not give you bigger arms, okay? You need to apply the principles of intensity to the same level that you do for your legs, for example. So for his chest day, he starts with, surprise, surprise, deadlifts. 15 reps, again, I have no idea why. After that, bench press, 15 reps. I suppose these are one set. The high intensity meme of doing one set only is already bad enough. I explained that in the Blood and Guts program review. This is not conducive to hypertrophy, okay? You're shooting yourself in the foot because you're refusing to use a parameter of programming that allows you to multiply volume, which is set modification and set multiplication. After that, he does chest flies for 10 reps. So 1 set again, I guess. Bench press again for 10 reps. Machine flies, so why would you move from flies to machine flies? I have no clue. And also, what is a machine fly? Is that a pec deck? This is not the same movement. 10 reps of 2 sets. This program is attacking my brains. Incline flies, so more flies for 10 reps, then chest flies for 10 reps, and deadlifts for 15 reps. Okay, I know that this, for a lot of people on this channel, you will think this is a joke program. I have seen people who train like this. So again, Enco, I'm sorry if I sound rude. This is a terrible program, and if you run it, most likely it's because you're a beginner. And I'm trying to put you on the right path. So the deadlift, I will make a better program after that. In 15 seconds, I will make something better than this. But same thing, the chest day is awful. Why would you do those weird sets of bench and then flies? I mean, as a chest activation maybe for the fly, but it's not a good activation in my opinion because of the movement pattern. Might as well do bend flies standing up. And again with the deadlift, because he ends the day with 15 reps of deadlifts. Then his leg day starts with 15 reps of deadlift. It would have been funny if the only day that didn't have deadlifts was the leg day. So then he does hack squats, 10 reps for 2 sets, then cleans for 10 reps for 1 set. The clean is going to require such a large amount of technical mastery and a large amount of warm up that I don't want to see it in any program, basically. If you do a clean, you need to explain to me why you're doing a clean. Because there are better ways to induce hypertrophy, all right? Weighted lunges until failure, elevated calf raises, 2 sets of 30 reps, okay? That's decent. That's the first thing I see that's decent. Then he does leg raises, 10 reps for 2 sets, which is too low for abs. He does cleans again, then deadlifts for 10 reps, okay, again with the deadlifts. And then he does abs, leg raises, side planks, a ton of ab stuff. Okay, the abs is the same logic. Enco, you do way too much stuff for abs. Pick one thing, get good at it. Multiply the sets. You don't need to do 15 variations. I know. It's the big rage on YouTube Fitness, and people will tell you, oh, you need 26 variations for your abs or else you will never have abs. Force. Get 1 or 2 that are going to focus on the bracing of the abs. Get 1 or 2 that are going to focus on the stretching. Get good at them. You'll get abs. Then shoulders and back. He starts with deadlifts. Then he does wide pull-ups. First vertical pull of the program. 10 reps for 3 sets. Then he does shoulder shrugs, 2 sets for 10 to 15 reps. Then barbell overhead shoulder press. For 1 set, 3 to 6 reps. So random evolving rep range thrown in there. 3 to 6 is actually good for the overhead press, but not for 1 set. You need it for at least 3 sets. And then wide push-ups, Arnold press, and deadlifts again. So on a shoulder day, the only exercise for the shoulders is really the barbell overhead press for 1 set. Do you think that this is conducive to shoulder hypertrophy? Unless you're a complete noob, no. Okay, so that's the end. I'm not going to waste too much time on explaining why this is a bad program, because I already did that for the first 2 days, and the leg day is giving me anxiety. You start with the deadlift, and again, the deadlift that you do for 15 reps is pure junk volume, because a deadlift is going to induce mechanical failure faster than any other lift. The second type of movement pattern that is going to potentially be as bad but not on the same level is squats. Okay, on the deadlifts, your structure is going to give up way before the muscles. Okay, that's when bad form occurs. And if you can maintain perfectly pristine form on 15 reps of deadlift, you're not lifting heavy enough. Okay, you need to be in the realm of form degradation without form breakdown, and that's important to notice, after the 5th or 6th rep. Don't take it so high, really don't. then the cleans again, then you do weighted lunges. You do weighted lunges until failure. And by failure, I don't know what you mean. Is it failure within the exercise or is it failure within the session? Because if it's within the session, are you telling me that you go until you can't do a weighted lunge anymore? And if yes, why are you doing deadlifts again afterwards? How is that possible? Is it you don't have the ability to recover to baseline within the workout? So what are the deadlifts doing here? Plus, you do so I said you do a ton of ab work that is doing nothing for you. There are tons of muscles who are ignored or just snubbed. Long head of the tricep gets no work. You barely do any vertical presses. I don't see any horizontal pulls or vertical pulls. Way too much flies. You do way too much flies. Chest flies, do 4 sets, 8 to 12 reps. That's all you need. Just call it a day. So let me quickly correct this training regimen, and I'm going to do it by keeping your template. Even though it's a bad template, I always try to keep the template alive. So you start with arms. On arms day, you are going to start. I'm just going to do one thing for that template because it makes no sense. You're going to start with arms, then you're going to do legs, then you're going to do because you do shoulder. So even the template I cannot use because it's anti-synergistic to the max. So I'm going to make it into 3 days. I'm even going to help you save more time because you'll only train 3 times a week, which by the look of the program, you're a novice, so it's good for you. You start with arms, which is really an upper body day, okay? You are going to do bench, okay? You're going to follow the bench with a vertical press, like the overhead press, okay? You superset the vertical press with a chin-up. You, after that, are going to do curls for 4 sets, superset that with skull crushers, and you're going to superset that with lateral raises or rear delt flies. Okay, that's your upper day. After that, you can do a superset of neck work, abs, any level of calf work, that's fine. Okay, that's your first upper day. Second day is going to be a lower. You're going to start with squats, okay, knee flexion, squats. You're going to do 3 to 4 sets, okay? You can do 6 to 10 reps. After that, you are going to do a variation of the deadlift, like a Romanian deadlift, okay? You superset that with pull-ups. You can do 8 to 12 reps, and pull-ups, you do them for as many reps as possible. And then you finish the day with calves, abs, and maybe back upper extensions if you need to. That day is going to have an optional day, meaning that on some days you're going to do heavy deadlifts and a knee flexion variation, or heavy squats and a hip hinge variation, so a deadlift variation. That's your day. That's your lower body day. Do that, go home. After that, the third day, which is your second upper day, you are going to start with an overhead press, and you are going to then follow that up with an horizontal press, a variation, so a close grip bench press, for example. Then you do another superset that can include something like shrugs. You can include something like forearm isolations. Again, abs, calves, all of that stuff. You can do that with the 2 uppers and the 1 lower, but in reality, what I just prescribed was it's an upper, lower. So you either run it 3 times a week if you want to focus more on the upper body, or you can do 4 times a week and you take the option of the variation of the lower and you do it on a different day. So it's a 4-day program if you want to stick with your program and your template. You can buff up the upper body days by adding things. You can always add things. But what I just described in 5 minutes is going to give you 15 times more results than this, especially on the deadlift. Okay, do the deadlift, and I didn't give you a reference for the deadlifts, but for the deadlifts, do 1 to 3 sets, 2 to 5 reps. You can even stick to 1 set if you want to. Then you can do back-off sets. I will make a video about back-off sets to explain how to do them properly for hypertrophy, but ditch that. What you're doing now, ditch it. And if for some reason you don't want to take notes about what I just said for the program I just gave you, go into the program review playlist. I made better programs than that for novices, so check them out. And for anyone who is interested in following a program that I might have done, tomorrow I'm going to release a gentleman split, a free gentleman split that is going to be fully modifiable by you. So stay tuned for that. And I'm going to leave you with that. There shouldn't be any questions because I think I've been pretty clear on explaining why that program was bad. So I'm going to leave you here. Thank you for watching. Have a good day.